Welcome back to Tuesday Night Lights, where we are finishing off the nights with a C3 Esports League clash between two undefeated titans, East Carolina and UNC Charlotte. So I've brought in the big guns to join me in the final slot of the evening. Sleeper, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. It's always a pleasure to be able to have a full day of work and then pop into the booth and cast a great match with you. So I'm expecting a good match between these two teams, both really solid teams, and we'll see what they can bring to the table tonight.
And teams are ready, so let's get things started. UNCC are definitely the favorites coming into this, and this is a best of 5. Let me change that real fast in my graphic. But UNCC are definitely the favorites. I mean, they just made a run through the CCS Invitational, through CRL, and while they're not playing in the SEL this season because of schedule conflicts, I have to imagine they would be at the top of Tier 1 there too. So, ECU, as a Tier 2 SEL team, as an underdog even in their own conference in CCS, is a good roster, but they have some uphill fighting to do tonight, even though they are also 3-0.
Yeah, it's trying to take it right to the faces of UNC Charlotte right away, but lazy. Able to get a clear out. Knight and Bala down below. Bala looking to get it around basically. Good 50 there. Still not able to push it towards the net. Just too awkward on that back wall there, but ECU, they're holding up so far here pretty well.
Oh, it's a nice pass, though. UNCC can break apart that ECU defense, and well, they could have if they hadn't both gone for that shot and put it emphatically out to the side. That's a clear over basically's head. So again, UNCC will get their hand at offense, though. Again, ECU are doing a really good job of, at the very least, limiting early possessions from turning into opening goals and pace-setting moments for the Niners. That's a big win for Bala.
Yeah, but basically able to pick it up in the corner and bring it right back out. Bring ECU back onto offense, but not a lot of ball control to work with on that half. That's a good 50 out there from Knight. Bring it back into that blue half. Lazy in the midfield with a catch, popping it over to Knight. Lazy off of the ceiling, gets a touch on it, but it's just too wide of the net for it to be dangerous at all. Bala picks it up over one, but Chief able to put a stop to it.
And now 50-50 goes right at Lazy. He was ready for that. And he lets it go for Bala, but Glare on the goal line. Looking phenomenal right now. That's a couple of great blocks out of ECU. And while they'll need offense and boost eventually, for the moment, they are weathering this storm nicely, but that's a team bump. So Chief Not Sober puts all the pressure of breaking out on his shoulders and actually does a really good job.
Yeah, the ECU has been doing a good job of keeping up on the defensive end. Bala sends it home there. Finally, UNC Charlotte able to break down that back line of ECU. But, I mean, before then, the Pirates were doing such a good job they looked a little scattered on defense, but they were able to get those required touches to keep it out of their net. But obviously, UNC Charlotte not okay with that, finally sending one home with 2:50 on the clock.
And ECU was just surviving, though. And if that kind of play keeps up, then this will be a fairly easy 3-0, like I think Dylan was predicting there in his interview. And that's another close shave for East Carolina. And while they have the experience and the savvy, I think, to find ways out of these bad situations. I mean, right here, 1v2. Bala was in a good spot when it comes to momentum, but ECU play the 1v2 perfectly, that they can't find a clear. Eventually, though, they do break out. And okay, maybe there is some life here. I was going to talk about how, I don't know if they can keep up with the pace and the individual ability of UNCC, but can survive a while, and so far that's what they're doing.
Yeah, still, it was a little bit dangerous on that back line, but some good comms were coming out and to stop a double commit from happening on that back line. UNC Charlotte, they're still looking to pounce. Knight brings it off that sidewall, past a couple. Glare able to put a stop. Follow-up from Bala is going to be wide. And Charlotte, once again, they're looking deadly on the offensive half, but their shooting accuracy has been a little bit of a boon to their offensive attack here.
It's a big clear. Glare will follow it up with a nice touch to the backboard if Knight wasn't ready for it, but Knight gets a big clear for the Niners. Does the same thing on the ECU end, but Glare counters. Bit of taste of UNCC's own medicine, although now Glare's got no boost. Just has to watch as Lazy kind of pinches that ball away from danger for the ECU back line, and it's still just a 1-0 game one. But UNCC have definitely had the majority of control, though East Carolina have kept this game manageable enough for them to find a way back.
That one could have been dangerous there. Good recovery on the defensive end. That's a midfield demo. Leaves Chief on the ball. Popping it up. Gets that flip reset around one off the backboard. Bala covering it up beautifully, though. Not allowing that one to fall into the hands of ECU, but they're right back on the attack again. Trying to break down this Niners defense, but haven't been doing a good job of it quite yet. Now down to 30 seconds. Their time to start breaking away at the Niners defensive end is starting to run away from them.
Basically has decent control here. Can't beat Knight, though, is the first challenger for the Niners. 20 seconds to go. ECU could use a lot of space gained in the offensive direction. But Bala takes a little bit of it away, though. Chief collects, has a full boost tank and a teammate out to the side, and Knight low on boost. It's a recipe for a good-looking attack out of the Pirates, but basically pops that ball up. That gives control back to UNCC, and on 0 seconds, ECU will fight from behind, and it will die at the near side post as UNC Charlotte takes game one.
I mean, ECU, like you said earlier on in the match, Bepic, they looked like they were surviving a lot more than just actually like playing and bringing it to UNC Charlotte. But as the match progressed, they looked a lot better against UNC Charlotte, able to get those clears out, able to find some offensive possession. So going forward in the series, they still were managed to keep it to a 1-0 scoreline. So they have a good look going through the rest of the series, I'd say.
They have to keep up that goal line presence, though, for ECU, because UNCC put a lot of good shots on target. They had 13 at the end of that game, but East Carolina, I think, had 8 saves there at the end. I didn't write it down, and I've already forgotten, but it was a lot of saves, and a lot of them were close shaves, where UNCC really could have scored if they're playing a lesser defense. But Chief Not Sober has just done it to the entire Charlotte back line with an insane ground double.
I mean, that's just such an awkward ball for the defense there. The Niners, you had Bala in the air trying to recover to it off of the awkward bounce on the ground to begin with. But it's a good start from ECU getting a goal right away. And if they're able to play that backline defense like they did in game one, this could be more in favor of ECU here.
Okay, that's a good start. Hey, I mean, you spend the whole game one scoreless, and then Chief comes out and does something like that. I mean, if you're ECU, I don't think they were probably tilted after game one being as close as it was, but not falling in their favor. But you're definitely feeling all right about your position in this series, although UNCC can counter now as Knight tries to stuff that ball in, but couldn't get around on it. Lazy back on target. Glare will be there for the stop. Knight's next up in the corner of ECU, but that defense is holding firm.
Yeah, at this point, you have to wonder if it's the ECU defense being able to hang on, or if it's the finishing attacks from UNCC that are really being the deficit on the offensive half. But, I mean, ECU, they're able to hold on with what UNCC have been throwing at them, but as the match progresses, I want to say that shooting accuracy will start to fall more in favor of the Niners, and ECU will have to try and find a way to come up with some better goal line saves here.
Ooh, speaking of, Bala stopped a nice passing play between Basically and Chief, but I would counter your point, Sleeper, and say that I don't think UNCC has really not had their shooting boots on. They haven't missed any real opportunities outright. They've been put in awkward shooting positions where the shot's really difficult to come by because ECU's playing good defense, and then when they do put shots on target, ECU are finding big saves. They're making good reads there on the goal line, and that's why I would say the reason ECU is now up 2 in game 2. This time it's Basically.
ECU have been able to find their offensive footing here in this series, after looking scrambled in the first half of game one, they looked much better in bringing it to the offensive half and trying to find those shots against the UNCC. And then here in game two, they are doing a wonderful job playing around the Niners defense and getting shots like that to finish the job.
And now I'm confused because this UNCC team looked dominant at the start of game one. And that's a similar story to, I think, their weekend in CRL, where on Thursday I watched them lose to James Madison, where JMU straight up outplayed them. And JMU's a good team. But UNCC, if they're going to make a deep run to, I think, top 16 in CRL, right after losing to JMU, I just don't see where the switch is flipped. But here, they're going toe-to-toe with an ECU team that I wouldn't put in their same level at the moment. But hey, they still got time. In game two now, let's see what they can do.
That was a great team passing play as well, just passing around the entire defense of ECU, forcing them to commit on the ball before those passes come out, and then just breaking down that backline defense. A little bit of a double commit there, but Glare was able to get another great touch out to the side wall, keeping that awkward for the offense of the Niners. Another passing play there. Lazy not able to get the shot on. Awkward positioning from him. It's basically playing this one slow. No boost. Just trying to play it for possession here. Get a good 50 on the goal line. It's up. No shooter from ECU. Now Bala is able to take it back out to that midfield line.
Lazy has some decisions to make. He just hits the ball hard and follows it up. But that ball is played back into the box of UNCC, though. They do well to get the ball away. And Chief not sober at the midfield line. It's just being a thorn in their side. Basically, the same kind of thorn right on the goal line of ECU. Great block right there. And we got 90 seconds left. UNCC is still down a goal here with East Carolina putting up a great wall of a defensive stand there on their goal line.
And a good clear out as well, but Bala taking possession back for the Niners. Double flip reset opportunity saved away by Glare. I don't think Bala was able to get that second reset after all. Now basically the redirect off of that sidewall, just going wide of the net, but a demo keeps the ball firmly in their possession. Chief now taking it through the corner. Knight to try and cover it up. Lazy can't get a touch on it. Now basically able to bring it a good 50. Brings it right under Bala, opening up that 2-goal lead once again for ECU.
And basically just straight up called Lazy's bluff right there. Said, I know you're not touching that. I'm playing it anyway. And that gives him some space to, with control of the ball, out 50-50 the last man of UNCC. Like, I know ECU are the underdogs here, but none of their players, and they've shown that so far in this best of 5, you can give space like that and have a good odds of making the stop still in defense. So 30 seconds to go now, and I did predict this to be a 3-1 UNCC, so maybe they're just setting up for a good prediction secure for me. But still, ECU are looking solid here in game 2.
Yeah, ECU definitely able to keep pace with UNCC, if not even take control of the series here. But random ball, great 50 from Bala. Knight still on the attack for the Niners. 11 seconds to go, only down by 1 now, so they need a good kickoff here to go their way to be able to tie it up before 0 seconds.
That 50's crazy, though. There is time for some magic still, thanks to an insane on-goal line 50 out of Bala, setting up Knight perfectly. And there is space now. Lazy fakes the redirection. Bala tries to dunk, basically, but is out 50'd. Knight over towards Lazy, looking for a tie ball game, and they got it! 3-3 with a second left. Sleeper, you called it out, and UNCC answered.
Hey, they needed a good kickoff, and a good kickoff they got. Able to pass it around. ECU as well. Force them out of position to make the saves. 1 second. We could have overtime here. Ball is in the air, though. Over to Lazy. Keeps it up. Bala on the shot. Chief able to make the save on the goal line, though. Bringing it to overtime.
Ooh, okay, and deep breaths for ECU fans, as just when you thought they had a nice, comfortable, secure game win behind them, it's all taken away and nearly completely taken away in overtime. But ECU still have a chance to win it now. Glare is running ahead, puts the ball to a backboard that was undefended until Lazy hopped up from the ground and Bala stuck with the play from outside the orange box. But still, there are openings for the Pirates, and that one will be closed down quickly.
Basically taking that redirect for himself. Bala able to clear that out before Glare was able to get a touch on it. Now Lazy takes control off that sidewall, bringing it down. Good 50 against Chief, and it goes into the net. UNCC take it in overtime.
Well, I was worried about the Niners for about 2 minutes there, while ECU held a 2-goal lead in a really good position to take home at least a game win in this best of 5. But now I'm less worried about UNC Charlotte. It seems like they can turn it on when they feel like it, and if you give them a little bit of space, if they just lock in, knowing they have a multi-goal lead to extinguish, then you can believe in them a bit more.
Yeah, UNC Charlotte, they definitely turned it on, finishing with 13 shots by the end of that game, compared to ECU's 8. I mean, UNC, like you said, Bepic, they were just able to turn it on when they needed to most, bringing it within 1 and 11 seconds, and then finding that tying goal with 1 on the clock, and then winning it in overtime. They definitely have that clutch factor in them. We'll see how ECU is able to respond, whether they're just going to get a little bit stomped here after that heartbreaking loss, or if they're still able to bring it against Charlotte.
Out of the gate, Charlotte has set up a kickoff strat that doesn't quite connect. Got the first pass off, but second one didn't make it in, I think it was Lazy's direction. I think he was the one downfield either way. ECU counter quickly with a shot on target. Glares going backboard, doesn't find a second touch at all that play. And that was a real opportunity for a spot of mechanical brilliance there from ECU.
Yeah, now Glare taking it once again. Again, Bala cutting that play off before it can even get to the backboard there. Basically trying to keep the Pirates on offense here. That's a pass center demo from basically as well. Opened up space, but Glare wasn't able to get that final touch. Basically, again, trying to keep Pirates on offense as UNCC are finally able to clear that ball out, relieve some pressure from their side.
That's one good beat. Basically was able to get the ball past one, but Glare playing that ball midfield doesn't do an ECU any real good as they're back playing defense against Bala, popping the ball over towards Knight. The shot's off target. If you could even get around that ball to put a shot on. And, well, UNCC will try again, but this is a different feeling game 3. It's a lot more sluggish, and I think both teams are feeling the weight of this series a little bit, with ECU feeling the weight of maybe what could have been a tight best of 5 having slipped away after that overtime loss in game 2, and UNCC feeling the weight of having to close things out against an ECU team that is not easily scored upon.
Yeah, basically bringing the Pirates back on offense, but UNCC doing a great job once again of just clearing the ball out back into the offensive half for them. And they're trying to build up the pressure, but so far this game, ECU have been doing a good job of keeping the ball away on their defensive end from UNCC, not really allowing them to really break down the defense of the Pirates and secure a foothold in the offensive half. But that's really what both of these teams have been doing here in Game 3, not really allowing the offense time and space on the ball to do something on the offensive half. Now basically pops it up, 50s with Bala, able to pick it up is Glare. The shot is going to come through, but Knight, good save from him. We'll keep that ball to a 0-0 scoreline.
Bala wanted that one. Put some heat behind the ball, and now ECU's kind of spread out. Chiefs the last man back, but had Glare re-entering the battle there on the ECU goal line, and it's a battle won for the Pirates. They're successful in clearing the zone, and now they have to contend with UNCC again, but the Niners are starting from their defensive half, and that's a win for ECU, as it's only really into the neutral zone between the offensive third and the midfield third for UNCC. They aren't playing much offense this game.
Yeah, Lazy trying to get it there. Able to take it under Glare. Thought the flip reset was going to come out, but it never did. Now Chief pass center to basically Bala trying to cut it off there. Can't do so. Now Glare Gets 50'd by Knight, pops out Lazy, has the boost control to work with. Again, can't break through that midfield presence that ECU has been bringing in this game. Now the shot from Chief, saved by Lazy as Knight is able to bring it out, but Chief cuts off the passing play before it can even begin.
Ooh, Lacy's got no boost and manages a 50 with basically here, and Bala out of that will take control, is going off the ceiling, and Bala's feeling fancy, but no one's feeling like hitting the ball, so he actually gets the ball back there. I don't know how he regained control of that play after the start went so awry, but that's been the story of Game 3, I think, for both sides. UNCC are playing back, trying to limit ECU's offense after a 3-goal outpouring in Game 2, and ECU are struggling to beat that.
A great touch there from basically to keep that away from Bala. Chief trying to make it awkward here for Knight, but he's able to recoup on that ball. Get around a couple as well as Chief takes control in that midfield once again for the Pirates, not allowing UNCC to really break out of their own half too much here. Their midfield presence has been a lot better compared to previous games. Now basically trying to work through the corner for the Pirates. Brings it around a couple, but Lazy covering up the goal. Able to make a save that time around. Bring it out. Now 20 seconds. Bala brings it low, basically already in the net to stop it. Time is ticking down, though. We may have an overtime, but a completely different scoreline.
It's crazy. We've had a 1-0 in this game, and in this series. Probably another 1-0 with, yeah, I mean, we're at the time where it's at right now, and then 7 goals in Game 2. Very odd best of 5, thinking about that. And we'll get an overtime here. We'll see what happens if East Carolina can extend this series or if UNCC have just been toying with their food so far in Game 3. But they won the last OT we played. We'll see if UNCC can do it again.
I mean, ECU, they will have to try and reverse sweep in the series if they want to take the victory, but it all starts with a clutch overtime win against UNCC. Still keeping it on that offensive half as much as possible, but Charlotte have been doing a better job since the kickoff to bring it into that blue half there. Keep the Pirates on the defensive end, but Chief not sober, able to bring it out to the midfield. Drop down for Glare, trying to get it around that defense, but everybody already back for Charlotte. Quick counter for Bala. Great stop there from basically.
A good demo on the far side. Chiefs out of the picture for now, but Glare does well. Was the lone defender there. As basically was upfield, and Chief was in the nether realm, but found offense for ECU. They have to stake a claim to it even now, as Charlotte took over control, and with that dunk at the midfield line, they will lose it. Bala has boost, though. Chief's been taken out, but Glare avenges him. Demos Knight, and yet still UNCC have a chance to win it right here. Knight with a drop-down pass towards Lazy will have it intercepted by Chief, and we'll keep this overtime cooking.
Bala able to get that second touch there. Has Lazy to work with in the offensive half, but not a great touch. Ends up into the hands of basically. Now the ball falling over to Bala. Trying to pass it over to Knight once again, but it's going to be cut off right into the hands of Lazy, though. Trying to get it off the backboard, but basically already covering it up. ECU, they're doing a good job of stopping these plays that UNCC have been trying to pull on the offensive half. Just covering up any passing lane or opportunity that they're trying to come up with. As now Lazy, his shot gets cut off before it can even come out. That ball popped off the backboard, but again, basically already covering it up, just keeping ECU solid on the defensive end.
2 minutes in, and ECU, they are solid on the defensive end, but they really haven't had many opportunities to win this game in a while. Maybe they're just biding their time, because this is actually a good-looking opportunity. There's no one there to immediately fire a shot off of that open backboard, and now they've overextended a bit into offense, missed a couple of times in defense, and that's not typically a situation you survive from against UNCC, but no one had a read on that, though ECU is still broken apart. Bala's beaten too. He can double this for the win, and it basically finds a big stop on the goal line. We'll keep playing.
I want to point out also, Bepic, that was only the 4th shot that UNCC have had in this game.
What?
In over 7 minutes, almost 8 of gameplay, they've only had 4 shots here compared to 11 from ECU. So, I mean, ECU, they're doing a lot better job, like I said earlier, of really breaking down their offensive plays before they can even begin. That's a good bump there from Glare, keeping the ball awkward for UNCC on the offensive half. Clear comes out from basically, but neither team really able to get a clear foothold here in overtime.
This is good possession. UNCC have some control, but ball is challenged immediately, and he can't set up the solo play for a ton of space for his teammates to work with that I'm sure he wants. And so, Lazy and Knights combine for a bit of a team pinch, just hitting the ball hard and seeing what comes of it. And nothing really does. East Carolina exchanged some pleasantries there in their corner with a UNCC player, and, well, they'll fire one back. Still 0-0 through almost 9 minutes of Rocket League.
Oh, Lazy. Leaving that one for Bala.
Oh, no.
Off the backboard. That's centered. Bala on the shot. Too high. Knight, the follow-up is going to be good. Only 5 shots from Charlotte, but that's all they needed. The first shot from Knight is a follow-up, and it is good for the goal. 9 minutes of Rocket League nearly, and UNC Charlotte end the series in 3.
Interesting series, though, because UNCC, for as talented as they are offensively, really weren't able to do much outside of, like, the back half plus overtime of Game 2. They had the 1 goal in Game 1. Obviously, they finished with 4, with 3 of those coming in the back half of Game 2 in the second game. But then it took 9 minutes for them to score. But, hey, they got the win. So, at the end of the day, it does not matter.
Yeah, and it's still a sweep win on the scoreboard as well. So, I mean, unless you look at the actual results, you'll think, oh, UNCC just bulldozed over ECU, but that was not the case. It was a close series the entire way. I mean, 1-goal games all around, including, I believe we had nearly 5 minutes of overtime between the 2 separate games as well. So, a very close series indeed.
And I'm going to ask Lazy if he's got any interest in an interview or if any of the UNCC guys do. Give him a couple of minutes to respond here. But, I mean, Sleeper, I know you're just on with me for like 3 games of Rocket League tonight. But we've had a crazy evening of Collegiate Rocket League. I know BBB's going on right now. A lot of action over there. Anything happening that's notable you keeping your eye on?
Not right now, but I mean... Yeah, Collegiate Rocket League is kind of going off right now. There's plenty of events. I mean, we have Voland coming up soon, BBB coming up soon. We're getting to the end of CRL for this semester. So CCS is still in the middle of its season. SEL, like you probably mentioned earlier, is rolling right along right now. So it's really a great time to be in the Collegiate Rocket League space.
Indeed, and a good time to be in this booth because I'm dragging Knight into the caster booth with us. Knight, can you hear me? How you feeling?
I can hear you. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a confident win for you guys. I mean, all 3 1-goal games. ECU put up a good fight. But I want to ask you, that was an odd couple of games with 2 1-0s and then a 4-3 overtime out of nowhere. What did that series feel like in the UNC Charlotte camp?
I mean, against ECU, they're a pretty solid team. Like in the past, we've really struggled against them. When we played them on LAN, they almost reverse swept us. Like we thought we had the lead for a while, and they almost brought it back. So, kind of going into this game, it was just a focus of play our game, stay focused, because they are a good team. And you saw from the close games, we had a crazy comeback. I think it was game 2, where we brought it back in 0 seconds. But yeah, after that, it just had to lock in because the games with them are always close.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I want to get from your point of view, what was that feeling going in from game 2 to game 3? Because game 2 was a pop-up of goals from both teams, and then game 3 took so long to finally have either team score. What was the feeling there?
I mean, game 2 was definitely, I don't know. It was a little stressful. I mean, going down 2 goals and then bringing it back last second, like we realized one of our bigger weak points is our defense. So going into game 3, that was more of just our mindset is, fixing up the defense, keeping good comms and good rotations. And even with that, it was still a nail biter of a game. So, I mean, we knew they were a good team coming in. But yeah, the series playing against them is always a little stressful just because of how close they keep it.
Yeah, that definitely for sure. Definitely. All of them 1-goal games as well, so a very
Mhm.
close series indeed. I I don't think I have any other questions for you. Bepic, do you
Fair
have any
enough.
more?
I've got one. I want to talk about just overall. I mean, you guys have C3 you're competing in, CCS as well, CRL. I'm wondering, do you guys put 100% effort into all of the events? Because the reason I ask, and not like you're taking events off or anything, but like for CRL, I see you make a run to top 16 in like the entire collegiate landscape right after losing to JMU 2 nights before. And so,
Mhm.
do you have the same sort of focus for a long day of CRL that you do for like a one-off series, like the CCS tournament finals was?
It really just comes down to like how we're feeling on the day. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, like RLCS, CRL, something it'll start off kind of casual. The early stages of the bracket aren't as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then once we get onto those harder teams, normally for us, if we click, it all works out. Like we feel almost unstoppable. But if it's like an off day or the vibes aren't there, then it feels it's a little more difficult to have that same team chemistry. So it's really just it kind of just comes down to how we're feeling on the day, how the vibes are, and then also like warm up and you know CRL is like a 5-hour event, so we're
Yeah.
also super warm, playing all day, so it can be a little different. Scrimming right before a CCS match or a C3 match, and then going straight into that, then just playing all day on the game. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of on and off. But normally, when we have those bigger tournaments like RLCS or CRL, we really lock in, and once we start to click, it's that's just where the chemistry comes in.
All right. Hey, you guys have locked in the last couple of opens for sure. And the
Yeah.
final question I've got for you, the newest colleague poll just came out, and I'm looking to see where you guys ended up. Do you guys follow the colleague polls or the discussions outside of actual competition? Because it actually looks like I don't. You guys finished 28th after your CRL runs. You're ranked 28th out of the 48 teams that got ranked across all of CRL. Does that mean anything to you?
That means a lot. We were actually looking at that today,
Nice.
before the scrim. That's massive for us because I know before, I think it was last semester, we weren't in like the top, we weren't in the top 30 or anything like that. So to
Hmm.
see how far we come, especially with our new addition Ball, like he is a standout player. He's really good. So it's definitely helped get us higher on the leaderboards, get our names out there. But it's definitely something we're proud of, and we just want to keep trying to go as hard as we can, keep practicing, keep trying to get better, so we can keep trying to get further up those leaderboards.
Yes, sir. I love the mindset. Always good talking with you, Knight. Good luck this
Mhm.
season.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Bepic.
All right, that concludes Tuesday Night Lights. It was a great show, Sleeper. I'm glad you got to join me for the tail end of it, even if it was just 3 games. But you got any last words before we do sign off?
Hey, 3 games. It ended up feeling like 4 with the
That's
overtimes, but
true.
I mean, it was still a fantastic series. All 1-goal games. UNC Charlotte did end up squeaking out each win. So I mean, a couple other wayward 50s going the side of ECU could have been a completely different series, but it's always wonderful to be here in the booth with you, Bepic. Like I said earlier on the broadcast, but yeah, it's just been a wonderful night.
All right, well, we'll close out from here. Again, thanks for joining me. Thanks to all of you for watching here at tonight. Shout out Big Man, who just popped up in chats. Laid the foundation for this UNCC team and where they are today. Top 30 in the entire CRL landscape. Big congrats to him. Congrats to everyone that won today. Thank you to everyone that played on stream as always. I'm going to see if we can't drop a raid to DJ TJ. I know he is busy right now with the BBB qualifiers, so make sure you go show him some love as that tournament is popping off right now. But that concludes Tuesday Night Lights 5. I will see you tomorrow, Esports SEL, for our SEL matchups, and then next week for Tuesday Night Lights. As always, I've been MrBepic. That is Sleeper. I'll see you next time.